Hello and welcome to the Rakyat Times TV news. I'm Meg Hu. Amnesty International is embarking on a campaign entitled Right for Rights, W4R. The campaign will be launched online on the 1st of December. In our studio for the second time is Ms. Sharmini Darshini, Executive Director of Amnesty International. Hi, Sharmini.
Hi,
welcome
Meg.
back again.
Thank you so much.
You mentioned in your campaign there are three individuals who will be highlighted. They are Chelsea Manning, Dr. Muhammad Al-Rokan and Liu Ping. Can you tell us more about them?
Sure. I'll start off with the Chelsea Manning case. Chelsea Manning was in the US Army, and what she did was to divulge classified information on WikiLeaks about human rights violations by the military, by US troops rather, in Iraq and Afghanistan. And the reason she did this was because she wanted to start a public debate on the human rights violations. So when the case went to trial, Chelsea was not allowed to state the reason that she leaked the information in the first place. So this is because there is indication that there were human rights violations committed during the wars. There was no this became an amnesty case because it does violate the freedom of expression and freedom of information. And apart from that, Chelsea, when she was detained, she also spent time in solitary confinement, being detained up to 23 hours a day, as well as...
Was she tortured?
There was news of ill treatment when she was in custody, yes.
Okay. This case reminds me of Major Zaidi. He's an army, but he's also Malaysian. I think to Chelsea, it's like, although she's an army, so she's a soldier, she is a human who can't stand all this torture or abuse, human rights abuse.
Yes.
But why are these cases, other than Chelsea Manning, Dr. Muhammad Rokan and Liu Ping, but why are these cases relevant to Malaysians? Why should we bother?
The Chelsea Manning case, you see a case of someone who has been in custody, someone who exercised her conscience and spoke out in terms of speaking out what she believed was to be the truth. Dr. Muhammad Al-Rokan is a lawyer and he's a professor in university. He has been one of those human rights defenders who's been out in the forefront, defending other human rights defenders in court, and this is in the UAE, and where we know there is a clampdown on human rights, ongoing. The third case, the third individual that we are highlighting is Liu Ping, and she's from China, and Liu Ping was Liu Ping was exercising, she was arrested after exercising her citizen right to assemble and call for government accountability and transparency. And these three cases have, Amnesty International Malaysia believes, very relevant local resonance. These are issues, these three human rights defenders have exercised their beliefs and rights in similar manner that the Malaysian human rights defenders and activists have done, especially in recent years. And one of the things that we wanted to highlight through the Right for Rights campaign is to tell Malaysians that we're not alone, firstly. There are other people who are around the world who are standing up for the same things that we are doing. And that's the point of the campaign.
I think a lot of Malaysians are thinking that some people or some activists are just too extreme or do not have any other things to do other than being an activist. That's why they are being captured, they are being charged under Sedition Act. So why, can you just tell the viewers why these activists do what they do?
I don't think activists do what they do because they have nothing better to do. I think it's a genuine love for Malaysia and that we want to see a change. That's it. we know that, and when we were talking about this a little bit off camera earlier, we were talking about how we have legislation in place that does not necessarily meet international human rights laws and international human rights standards. And that's one of the things that we want to see change. We've heard time and time again that the Sedition Act is does not honor the basic human right of freedom of expression and expressing your opinion, expressing your thought. And one should not be criminalized for doing so. So what activists and human rights defenders, why we do what we do is because we see the potential for change. We see the need for change, and that's what we're calling for.
Well, they will say that some people, okay, some of my so-called friends and contacts will ask me, why am I doing all these things, and why can't I just find a career, a proper job, and get on with my life? And why should they bother? They say that they have voted for the opposition party during G13 time. They have shared information online and etc. They have been on streets, but they don't see any differences. They felt disappointed, and they say that don't waste your time, just go overseas, migrate, leave the country. Why are you doing this, wasting your time? How would you respond?
That's something similar to what I've been hearing, but I think where you have people who want to move, who want to leave, you have many others who want to stay and want to make that difference. It's up to any individual if you want to go, but what we believe is we stay back, and we're here because we see the potential. This is the country we all love. We were born here, and we see the potential, what Malaysia can be. And that's the reason people, hundreds of thousands, took to the streets. That's the reason why we are launching all these campaigns to draw attention to human rights atrocities right here in Malaysia, as well as around the world. So, if you think you can always hold a job in corporate sector, government, or anywhere else, and still make that change, to quote Michael Jackson. But one of the things that we can do is, we're an instant generation. Yeah, I'm not that old. I'm still an instant generation. And one of the things that we see that we can do is to make campaigns like Right for Rights easier for people to take action on. The Right for Rights campaign is a complete online campaign. Malaysia has one of the highest number of Facebook users, for example, in the region. So we are concentrating on an online campaign where you click and you sign the petition. So that is something where you can hold a 9-to-5 or a 9-to-9 job and still do. That makes you an activist. That puts your voice among many, many others. And this Right for Rights campaign reaches thousands and thousands of people across the world. And we're just reminding people that, look, there are human rights defenders who are in terrible situations, like Malaysia, but it's not just here, it's happening everywhere. So we are encouraging Malaysians to show their solidarity to people like Chelsea Manning and Dr. Muhammad and Liu Bing, to say, hey, we're not forgetting you. Just like when we have people like Ali Abdul Jalil who are arrested and apparently beaten in custody, we are telling the world, hey, don't forget our human rights defenders, That's basically it.
To me, I know the risk that I'm facing, but I think that it is a freedom that is worth fighting for.
Yes.
But to a lot of people out there, right, they have responsibility of, they are parents, they are employees, they have to answer to their bosses. And why should they bother? They might ask you. Why should they bother, knowing all the risk, knowing that they might be tortured during detention? Why do they need to do this? They might be charged under Sedition Act, but they might be, I don't know what other acts out there now. There are so many. Look at Harris, look at so many activists. They are being targeted one by one by one. why should Malaysians take the risk to do all these things now, in your opinion?
To borrow a quote, be the change you want to see. And the other, to use your example, because you're a parent, because you're a child, because you're an employee, because you're an employer. These are the reasons why. And we're not saying, go out there and take risks, put yourself in the line of fire. We are saying, say something, make your voice heard. If you want to see a change, if you want to have better working conditions, if you want to have, if you want to be able to share a post on Facebook about some human rights violation or atrocity that's happening, whether in Malaysia or outside, you want to be able to share that without fear, because you want to tell people that, hey, these things are happening. It's because we want a better country and a better world is why we should say something.
Okay.
Yes.
But then, saying something, does it have an effect? Because we can sign petition and we have 300,000 people on the street, but still, certain parties are still in power, and it's like some people say that they feel frustrated and they felt stupid for doing what they have done and don't see any result. What's your take?
If we're talking about per se and people going down to the street, it's that force, the people power that happened during the birthday rallies. That is not something that is not effective. It had an effect. And the resonance has lasted. And it was one of the reasons I joined the human rights world, because you are encouraged by people who went down to the streets, you took action. They took action, And even though we might not be able to see that much changes in the natural, we know we are making an impact because there is debate. One of the ways to make impact and to make change is to say something, is to sign a petition, is to write open letters, it's to continue the debate, whatever topic it is, be it the mandatory death penalty, for example, which is something we work on and close to my heart. Or the freedom of expression, the freedom of media. If we are tired and upset about what we see as restrictions that shouldn't belong in a democracy, you start by saying something.
Well, a lot of people click likes, and they might share on Facebook, but they might not take action. But does that help? I mean, like recently the 52% Strike Back campaign by Abu, they have lots of shares, they have lots of likes, I think 90 over 1,000 likes. But we only receive about 40 or 50 odds letter to the MPs. It's really, really low.
Okay. Okay. Then we have to find a way to encourage more people to take part in that debate. And looking back at or rather zeroing in on human rights issues, I would say the principle on which we operate is very simple. If you don't want it to happen to another person, sign a petition, write a letter, say something, It comes back to it.
Okay, give us some confidence. If after we have written a petition, will there be any result?
One of the things, how petitions work is this, at least how Amnesty does it, You write, you petition to your government representative, you petition to your local embassies, you petition to the departments who are in charge. If you're petitioning for a change in law, then you appeal to, or you petition the Attorney General's chambers, you petition the Minister of Law. And when you have targeted petitions, all these are taken into consideration, and they do make an impact. Because when Malaysia, we're talking about the Malaysian scenario, Malaysia is now a member of the UN Security Council, right? Malaysia has very good international standing in the UN and in the diplomatic world. And one of the things that we need to do is to share where Malaysia is not faring so well in terms of meeting international law. So one of the things that we can do is, with these petitions and likes and shares that you get on Facebook, the numbers are what is important. You know, when governments, for Amnesty, governments start paying attention to a particular issue when there are people, ordinary people, who focus on an issue. I'll give you an example from the Philippines.
No, any examples in Malaysia? Because I think maybe Najib and Rosmah wouldn't really bother if there are lots of petitions. I don't know. Can you give us some I don't know, any examples or recent cases that there is a result from the petition?
Okay. I can't give you, unfortunately, give you any tangible impact yet because we are still carrying on with our campaigns. So we haven't closed off these campaigns. But ask me again in a couple of months and I'll give you a report.
Okay.
Yes.
That'd be great. We hope that you'll come back again and update us on the results.
I'll be very happy to.
Yeah.
Yes.
And to the viewers, please sign petition. You don't know how much you can help, but if you don't try, there's no hope. There's the 1:30 p.m. Rakyat Times TV News. I'm Mick Hu, and we'll be back tomorrow.